Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Astaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Ruttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे 336 आत्मजाया सुतागार पशुद्रविणबन्धुषु निरुद्ध मूलहृदय आत्मानं बहुमन्यते. Satisfaction with one's standard of living is due to deep-rooted attraction for body, wife, home, children, animals, wealth, and friends. So we were discussing about how Indra was also satisfied in the body of a hog. Why that satisfaction? Because of deep-rooted attraction. In such association, the conditioned soul thinks himself quite perfect. Mm, Until one comes to Krishna consciousness, one doesn't think about the need for improving themselves. Everybody is happy, thinking we are quite perfect, whatever position we are in. This so-called perfection of human life is a concoction, because it's not true. Therefore, it is said that the materialist, however materially qualified he may be, is worthless because he is hovering on the mental plane, which will drag him again to the material existence of temporary life. One who acts on the mental plane cannot get promotion to the spiritual. Now, this is also important for devotees. Now, most of my focus here is while Prabhupada is addressing all jivas, I'm trying to highlight more from devotees' perspective, because you might read this and say, okay, this is for non-devotees. They are on the mental plane. But devotees are also on the mental plane. Um, Generally, when we come into Krishna consciousness, very quickly, most people come out of the gross, from the gross platform, meaning in sense gratification platform, most devotees come out, but then they get stuck in the mental plane. Mental plane means just they get stuck with the mind and planning, future planning, and concerns and worries and anxieties and these kind of things which are more on the mental platform. We're not supposed to be on the mental platform. We are supposed to be on the spiritual platform. In the spiritual platform, there's no place for gross nor subtle. Mm. Spiritual means completely spiritual. Gross and subtle are all material. So no gross conception, no subtle conception also. No getting stuck in mind. No getting stuck in intelligence. Some devotees, they're intelligent. They want to use their intelligence for solving all problems. No, not required. That is not our work. That is Krishna's work. He will take care. Or simply keep thinking in the mind, this about that, about somebody said this, somebody. So we just get stuck on the mental plane. So we should not be on the gross plane for sure. We should also not be on the mental plane. We should be on the spiritual plane. Such a person is always sure to glide down again to material life, because mind is the reason for our existence in this material world. Mind simply gets hooked on to something and we get stuck. So it will glide us down again to material life. So one of the things which we should practice, which is an austerity, is not to think about material things unnecessarily. More than required. More than required means what? How do we draw the line? Okay, if I have to do some work, to go and buy some stuff from a shop. Okay, then I can think, okay, where should I go? What is the best place to go? Etc., etc., and then close. There should be limited time given for that thinking process, and then drop. No, not that, okay, we went, bought some stuff, then again we are thinking, oh, maybe I should have gone somewhere else. Oh, somebody else said that it was cheaper there. Oh, I paid 10 rupees more. This is not required. Before doing an activity, we did some little bit of thinking based on requirement. That too also should not be overdone as much as required. And then we are done with that. We've done the activity and close. Yeah, if there are some gross mistakes which happened, we can identify them so that we can correct it next time. That's all, right? Now, unnecessarily, we don't have to keep on thinking about material things. It's not, this world is never going to be perfect. Our actions are never going to be perfect. Neither are anybody else's actions going to be perfect. Actually, in the 11th canto, Krishna says, Uddhava, don't get stuck in the right and wrong of this world. And this right and wrong of the world, moral life is for, like, it's a basic thing for people to come out of animalistic life. Then they have to think about right and wrong. And for devotees who come to the platform of soul, basic right and wrong is required. But we don't have to go about thinking right and wrong about this whole world and keep correcting them. No, we have to just give them Krishna consciousness. We can't get stuck in this right and wrong. Many times we keep saying somebody did something, we say this is wrong, this is right. Not material things. Material things we should not bother much. As much as required. For example, some child is doing some mistake, okay, we should correct. But we don't go around correcting everybody, every alternate person's or every other person's material actions. Like for example, oh, why people don't follow traffic rules? Not like that is not for devotees. For devotees, they should think why people are not following Krishna's rules, right? So the idea is to keep less time as possible for all these material things because otherwise we'll remain on the mental platform. In the association of so-called society, friendship and love. So Prabhupada uses this a lot. This is what people are stuck with: society, friendship, and love. The conditioned soul appears completely satisfied. So everybody is happy. Everybody is happy in their own position. Uh, my family, my friends, you know, that's all. Mm. So we have to wake them up, and the way to wake them up is book distribution. Mm, mm. Actually, I had there's one recent lecture I had shared. Where did I share? No, in the other book distribution group. Um, Actually, all in US in Seattle. My Guru Maharaj is known as Bhakti Vikas Maharaj was there, and all the major book distributors in US had come. Almost some 12, 10, 12 great devotees who spent their whole life doing book distribution. Because that center in Atlanta, they are rejuvenating the whole book distribution fire like it was during Prabhupada's time. And all devotees, they were all saying, what is their inspiration, motivation to continue book distribution for all these years? And they were saying, simply looking at a soul and feeling that, oh, this person even doesn't know that he's not the body, and educating this person about this, basic truth still drives them to distribute Prabhupada's books. I mean, I thought it was amazing. Right? They are not talking about some high philosophy, nothing. They're simply saying people on the street are ignorant. They don't even know that they're not the body. So just telling them, giving them this information is book distribution. And it's so critical because otherwise everybody will be just happy in their so-called society, friendship and love. Prabhupada in one lecture says that this was Prabodhananda Saraswati taught, saying, oh, first glorifying everybody, whoever we meet. Oh, you're such a great person. You're such a gentleman. You achieved this, you achieved that. And then say, but you accumulated a lot of nonsense knowledge. You give up that knowledge that you are the soul. You're not the body is most important. So he said, before we give this information, we can glorify people for their material position, material achievement, so that they will become attentive and they'll say, oh, yes, okay, no, please tell me, what can I do for you? So somehow, like, we have to wake up people. So we should not be satisfied with our own. Most of the devotees, we are satisfied with our own sadhana, my own bhakti. Few are fired up to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And unless we engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, achieving perfection is not easy. So we have to participate in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. We have to go distribute books. We have to go preach. We have to do our service in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Otherwise, conditioned souls will just be sleeping in the laps of Maya. Sandahyamana sarvanga yesham udvahanadhina karoti aviratam mudho duritani durashayaha. Although is always burning with anxiety, such a fool always performs all kinds of mischievous activities with a hope which is never to be fulfilled in order to maintain his so-called family and society. Actually, we also experience this. We do so many things with a hope that things will become all right, but never to be fulfilled. We should realize that. It is said that it is easier to maintain a great empire than to maintain a small family, especially in these days when the influence of Kali Yuga is so strong that everyone is harassed and full of anxieties because of accepting the false presentation of Maya's family. This also is a matter of making people realize this, saying that you are harassed, you're full of anxieties. Don't you want to be happy? Come to Krishna consciousness. The family we maintain is created by Maya. It is the perverted reflection of the family in Krishna Loka. In Krishna Loka, there are also family, friends, society, father, mother, everything is there, but they're eternal. Here, as we change bodies, our family relations also change. This also is such an important thing. We get stuck with a family, this, that, and all that. Just we have to realize that, okay, this is all temporary. Why am I so attached? Sometimes we are in a family of human beings, sometimes in a family of demigods, sometimes family of cats, sometimes family of dogs. Family, society, and friendship are flickering, and so they're called asat. It is said that as long as we are attached to this asat, temporary, non-existing society and family, non-existing, meaning temporary, we are always full of anxieties. Everybody has anxieties. Everybody, every jiva has his or her own karma phala to deal with. So in a house, typically there are three, four people. Someone or the other is going through some trouble at some point of time. This is there. So we can't become anxious about that. We have to just depend on Krishna, do our bit and go on, move on. That's all. Focus on bhakti, focus on preaching. The materialists do not know that the family, society, and friendship here in this material world are only shadows, and thus they become attached. Of course, we cannot tell people saying that don't become attached. We have to make them realize this. Oh, you have so much of anxiety. You want everybody to happy, but you are seeing that everybody is struggling so much. Krishna consciousness will give you happiness. Krishna consciousness is the solution. We can't go and tell people saying that don't get attached. For devotees only, we can't tell. They'll say you are so heavy. How can we become detached? But Prabhupada is saying, I'm not saying. Naturally, their hearts are always burning. This also we have to help them understand. Their hearts are always burning. But in spite of all inconvenience, they'll still work to maintain such false families because they have no information of the real family association with Krishna. Of course, we cannot tell them saying don't maintain. We have to maintain family, but don't become attached. Your heart is burning, you're full of anxieties. Mm, Happy life is in Krishna consciousness, provided we actually become Krishna conscious. Even devotees are saying that where is happiness in Krishna consciousness? Huh? That's because we are not actually opened up to Krishna consciousness at all. We are on the border. You've not entered Krishna consciousness fully. If you fully enter Krishna consciousness, then pant and be happy. If you are still one leg there, one leg here, then there are anxieties, isn't it? Akshiptatmendriya strinam asatinam cha mayaya Raho rachitaya lapaihi Shishunam kalabhashinam. He gives heart and senses to a woman who falsely charms him with Maya. He enjoys solitary embraces and talking with her, and he is enchanted by the sweet words of the small children. Of course, it's not that this is only a man's position, it's also a woman's position. Family life within the kingdom of illusory energy Maya is just like a prison for the eternal living entity. In a prison, a prisoner is shackled by iron chains and iron bars. Similarly, conditioned soul is shackled by charming beauty of a woman, by her solitary embraces and talks of so-called love. Of course, this specifically will come mostly from women. Most men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Talks of so-called love and by sweet words of his small children. Yeah, this everybody is attracted. Thus he forgets his real identity. In this verse, the words Srinam Asati Nam indicate that womanly love is just to agitate the mind of a man. Actually, in the material world, there's no love. Both the woman and men are interested in their sense gratification. For sense gratification, a woman creates a illusory love, and the man becomes enchanted by such false love and forgets his real duty. When there are children as the result of such a combination, the next attraction is to the sweet words of the children. The love of the woman at home and the talk of the children make one a secure prisoner. Thus, he cannot leave his home. And that's why Prabhupada's father told him, saying that you are not happy with your wife, good. You will not get attached to family life. Hmm. Uh, Again, do we realize this? We are stuck in this. Hmm. Such a person is termed in Vedic language a Grihamedhi, which means one whose center of attraction is home. Grihastha refers to one who lives with family, wife, and children, but whose real purpose of living is to develop Krishna consciousness. One is therefore advised to become a Grihastha and not a Grihamedhi. The Grihastha's concern is to get out of family life created by illusion and enter into real family life with Krishna. And when we enter into real family life with Krishna, our current family also becomes part of Krishna's family. That is the whole idea of how we deal with family life. Krishna is taking care of the family. I am also a servant. That's all over. End of story. Whereas the Grahamedi's business is to repeatedly chain himself to so-called family life in one life after another, perpetually remain in the darkness of Maya. So we should not remain Grahamedis, we have to remain Grihasthas. So it is Grihastha Ashram. Ashram means center is Krishna. Mm. So this so-called illusory love, this we have to be careful. This is illusory. Actually, the real position is um, women are emotionally attached. Men are not so much emotionally attached. But for women, emotional attachment, emotional love is important. And this man is very practical, logical thinking. So this creates a lot of conflicts in uh, married life. Um, so the thing is, everybody should come to the platform of Krishna. Then woman's expectation of love is from Krishna and Krishna's devotees. And man is engaged with his logic to solve for real problems in Krishna consciousness, preaching, etc. Then everybody is satisfied. There is no expectation from the other person. And now nuclear families, wife has to depend on husband for her gratification or whatever her need for love, etc. Man is dependent on wife. So this creates too much of expectations, and generally expectations cause misery because expectations are never met in this material world. Mm. We have so many expectations from everybody, literally. Is there anybody who's free from our expectations? Even Krishna doesn't have so many expectations from all of us. But each of us have our own long list of expectations from the other person. And this obviously causes tension in any relationship and more so with uh, family. And that is the reason that when we go into the details of how a normal, typical grasta or family householder lives, mm, it is a recipe for misery only. Very few people actually. Those houses where people are happy, so-called happy, or where first thing is there are no expectations. Nobody expects anything from anybody. Anybody can do anything. There, people can be happy. It's like a hostel. Anybody can do anything. But wherever there are expectations, or typically in some houses, at least husband or wife will be very, very open-hearted, open-minded. Udara. Say it's okay. I will do whatever it's my service. Let them do whatever they want. So somebody has to give up. Somebody gives up. Mm. If both husband and wife are stuck to their position, then family life is miserable. Either both have to be flexible, or at least one of them flexible. Flexible means compromise, basically. One has to be ready to compromise. Uh, but in Krishna consciousness, there's no compromise. It's full happiness without compromise. And so we have to tell people, we have to educate people, we have to help them understand the difficulties of typical family life and how we can make it all perfect by coming to Krishna consciousness. But for which we have to live according to that. So how do we know how we have to live? We have to read Prabhupada's books. So unless we read Prabhupada's books, these thoughts never come into our mind. Otherwise, do any of us sit and think deeply, saying that, oh, why is householder life so difficult? Uh, why is there always some tension? We read Prabhupada's books, it becomes clear. So yeah, we should not get stuck in this. We should become family of Krishna. We should become part of Krishna's family. That's when we can actually get real happiness. गृहेषु कूटधर्मेषु दुःखतन्त्रेष्वतन्द्रितः कुर्वन् दुःखप्रतीकारं सुखवन् मन्यते गृही. The attached householder remains in his family life, which is full of diplomacy and politics. Family life is also full of diplomacy and politics, Prabhupada is Bhagavatam is saying. Always spreading miseries, this we understand. And controlled by acts of sense gratification, this also we understand. Controlled. One wants to do something for their sense gratification, others have to go in that direction. Whoever is the powerful, whoever is the power center in the house, and they will drive everybody else in that direction. Sometimes it's husband, sometimes it's wife, sometimes it's children. And of course, based on our age and stage in our life, this locus of control changes, but this is always there. He acts just to counteract the reactions of all his miseries. And if he can successfully counteract such miseries, he thinks that he is happy. See, reality of our life. If we're able to counteract miseries, then we think, oh, I solved that problem. Abba. And then next problem is waiting. In Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead himself certifies the material world as an impermanent place that is full of miseries. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. There's no question of happiness in this material world, either individually or in terms of family, society, or country. If something is going on in the name of happiness, that is also illusion. Here in this material world, happiness means successful counteraction to the effects of distress. The material world is so made that unless one becomes a clever diplomat, his life will be a failure. And this is nowadays required even in a family life. One has to be a diplomat, meaning maneuvering things, politics, diplomacy. Not to speak of human society, even the society of lower animals, birds and bees, cleverly manages its bodily demands of eating, sleeping, mating. Human society competes nationally or individually, and in the attempt to be successful, the entire human society becomes full of diplomacy. We should always remember that in spite of all diplomacy and all intelligence in the struggle for our existence, everything will end in a second by the supreme will, and that time will come for everybody. Hmm. The other day, one of our congregation devotees' mothers left her body, and they had to actually take the body to their hometown, which is in Maharashtra. All that simply they just put the body in. Everybody was running around here and there. Few of us were there in the hospital. Then we had to put the body in the ice box and closed. That's all. And that too, that ice box in that ambulance was such that you cannot even see the face. So I thought that that's it over. You know, person is gone. That's it over. It's just everything came to an end. The real reality is staring. I'm just thinking, uh, fun is not there. He's gone to police station for something, for getting some permission to go cross border. Mm, daughter-in-law, everybody there at home getting ready to go with the ambulance. Nobody is there. Finally, few of us devotees, we asked the hospital people, transfer the body into the ambulance. Mm, that's it over. Of course, then after that, after whatever, some 12 hours, 14 hours of travel, then they went to the hometown, then they take out body, finish, last rites, finish. We have to remember actually all of this will come to an end. 1 second, everything will be done over. Mm. Then this thought comes to my mind saying that after we go, what will people talk about us? People talk good about us? Will people talk bad about us? Will people say, oh, good riddance? Thank God, this person is no more. Mm. Or will people talk, oh, this devotee changed our life? What will people talk about us? Because that life is over. Now we are gone. What did we leave behind? Mm. For years to come, people will talk about Prabhupada, worship Prabhupada, glorify Prabhupada. Because it was a selfless life. It's selfless, just submitted his life to Krishna and Guru. Here also many devotees are doing that, but still so much of diplomacy, politics, and it spoils everything. It spoils the whole surrender. There's diplomacy, politics, and all this kind of maneuvering. Even in the name of bhakti, if you do all this nonsense, eventually people will say, "Oh, bah, so much of complication this devotee used to create. Why couldn't it be straightforward?" Right? So we should just make our life simple. See, we should remember saying that we have to create positive impact on other people in this life when we are living. And the positive impact is by Krishna, giving Krishna consciousness and ourselves being Krishna conscious. What is the point in living 50, 80, 100 years and eventually nobody even cared? Nobody even bothered to remember us for one another day after we died. What a worthless life. Hmm. We should die to live. So that only way is by propagating Krishna consciousness, by bringing people to Krishna, by giving them the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, all our attempts to become happy in this material world are simply a delusion offered by Maya. So we should not get stuck in this so-called society, friendship, and love, Prabhupada's language. Okay, we'll end here. Are there any comments, questions? This whole chapter is very heavy. It's talking a lot about how we get stuck in society, family life. Okay, any comments? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah, Dandavat Mataji.
Prabhu, like Srila Prabhupada's wife was not beautiful, and he was wanting to get married again. But it proved to be a blessing. But
Yeah.
in this age, Prabhu, if something like this goes, there'll be quarrels at home. It leads to divorce. It leads to suffocation.
Yeah.
Even among the devotees, like so many times that this has come up. No, my wife is like this, or my husband is like this. There's a lot of this, because it's the first thing when there is a matrimonial, and especially in our times when it was arranged, the first thing you look at is the external appearance. So I mean, at the same situation, the answers or the results may not be the same. No problem.
Yeah, but see, this is the training that Prabhupada's father gave him, right? Prabhupada's
Yes,
father
Prabhu.
gave him training. See, and this is the need for actually training, right, youngsters. Today, we know, as parents, what training we have given? We are not given. I mean, I see that in my own daughter's life, right? However much we try, we are not able to see, but really amazing, right? Like just,
Yeah.
so not many years back. And Prabhupada simply agreed. His father loved him so much that his father is telling him, saying that it's okay if you're not happy with your wife, it's good for you. And Prabhupada just said yes, okay. I mean, this is what is lacking today, right? And see, if we don't have any kind of spiritual culture, now the point about devotees not being happy with their family, it's very, very simple. They're just not Krishna conscious. That's all. They're just externally Krishna conscious. So obviously they the people who are externally Krishna conscious, meaning they're doing activities of Krishna consciousness, but not entered Krishna consciousness. Their life is very similar to karmis, right? Outside people. And with little bit of difference, big, of course, big difference that Krishna is there in their life, but they have not really taken to Krishna. So their life will be similar. Now we cannot say or think about that as the standard. Ideally, the standard is that we don't really bother about these things. We are here to serve. How does it? I mean, are we looking at our in the temple? If there are 10 devotees, are we looking at other devotees are also serving together? Are we looking at them and saying, "Hey, this person is not smart enough. This person is not handsome enough. This person is not beautiful enough. This person doesn't dress so well, but he or she might be doing amazing service." What are we focused on? Are we focused on the external? The same thing has to apply to family. See, till devotees come, that is the reason why Prabhupada is hammering. Come out of material conception, come out of bodily conception of life. We don't want to hear this because these are all very too heavy because we can't apply it in our own life. Because we don't want to accept it. The application will come only when we accept, right? We have to read Prabhupada's books, accept them, saying that Prabhupada is saying, give up this nonsense, gross conception. Okay, we have to give up.
But Prabhu, we are talking about this, like, so even among devotees, अपना जात चाहिए, अपना धर्म चाहिए, अपना सब कास्ट चाहिए. Even when
Why, Prabhu, why Mataji?
like my Guru Maharaj says, nobody helps, and that's exactly what even we've done. Like, okay, nahi, कर्मी लड़की चाहिए, devotee लड़की घर में नहीं settle होएगी. So many things we look into, and I mean, like,
Yeah,
it hits you now. It hits you very
yeah,
hard now,
but
but
the
we don't
point
realize
is,
it.
yeah, that's the whole point, Mataji. Because see, what Prabhupada is written is reality, is truth, right? See, we don't have foresight, we have not had the experience, so we simply have to follow what acharyas are saying. But we always, I mean, it's not. I've seen most devotees, they think their material life and spiritual life is separate, and they don't want to apply Prabhupada's teachings in their life. That's the mistake we are doing. Prabhupada's teachings is to create harmony in material life such that material life becomes spiritual life. But we want to create disharmony so that material life and spiritual life remain separate. Then obviously it causes so much of tension, so much of problems. It's a
The
very
problem.
simple formula. Just simply surrender to Prabhupada's instructions. It just works. It just works.
Actually, no problem. The problem is, like, we still associate with the body, with the outer covering. We want the package. We don't associate with the soul. Like, and Prabhupada, I mean, the father said he took instructions from him. But and not today, like when it's with the children, it's first the externals, which is, so it is a little, it becomes, we have to understand we are not the body, we are the soul, and then move.
Anyway, I mean, children is a different problem, Mataji. I am saying, I am first, this
Even
one
with
is
us, Prabhu,
targeting. Yeah, we
even
have
with
to
us,
come out.
it's
No?
the
We have
same.
to come out. I mean, I'm saying
I'm talking about.
we can remain like this, right? We can remain like this. We will have to come back again. We'll have to come back again, right? If we are in the bodily conception, we'll have to come back again. Prabhupada writes in one class, he was saying, even an iota of attachment to anything material will bring us back to the material world.
Yes, of course.
Now, why we want to come back again to this miserable material world? What is there here?
Yes,
So we have to see the reality. I mean, otherwise, yeah. See, that's the whole problem, right? We are stuck. That is why it is said we are engaged. We are stuck. I mean, unless we take Krishna consciousness wholeheartedly, and we cannot get out of all this. And Prabhupada's purports are just addressing all these issues, which are real for all of us. He's addressing these issues. Anyway, we have to try.
Yes, Prabhu.
Let's continue.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Dandavat
Hare Krishna.
pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Manjari.
Prabhu, just an opinion. I was actually reading self-help books a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So for you know to be better than last year, kind of a thing initially. But I see Bhagavatam has everything there. It's a
Nice.
one-stop shop where it clearly, I think this chapter is a beautiful realization for how simple we need to be and how complicated we are, and then
Yeah.
how easy we can be and how sophisticated we have made our lives for
Yeah.
ourselves.
The real self-help is to know who the self is, right? For
Yeah.
which you have to come to Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Then the help is given. Prabhupada in each and every purport is giving all the help required. Krishna
Yeah.
consciousness is self-help, Prabhu, actually. We are
Yeah. Yeah.
giving help to
Absolutely.
ourselves to actually come to the real platform of self. Um,
Correct. Correct.
I
But I
mean,
think.
Prabhupada said actually Bhagavatam it has everything. Bhagavatam literally
Mm,
has everything. Whatever,
yeah.
cosmology, geography, history, I mean, architecture, you name it, and there are things
It's
covered
there.
in
Yeah.
Bhagavatam.
So true, Prabhu. And I guess a lot of us are, we are not even aware that what all is actually existing here in this particular this thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, start reading, start reading. That's why
Yeah.
I'm saying we have to read Prabhupada's books, we have to apply them in our life, then life becomes perfect. Mm, Simple.
Sure,
We
Prabhu.
should not,
Yeah.
when we are reading Prabhupada's books, we should never think, oh, this is not possible. We should think, I am not able to follow this at this point of time, but I want to get to a situation where I want to follow it. Why? Because Prabhupada is saying. Simple. That's all that is required. That much simplicity, if we have, we will make progress. Okay, so we'll end here.
Great point, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhya Chakrapa Sindhu Bhagavatam. Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare